Is there like a place marker thing for in the meantime?
Yeah,
It
yeah. There's
says
a
like
little.
coming soon or
It
something.
it does. We're talking over it right now. So here I go.
Okay.
Hey everybody. What's going on, everybody? I am back here again with my friend Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation. I'm Riley McShane, host of the Metal Blade Live Series podcast, webcast, videocast, whatever this is. Anyway, how you doing, man? Of course, I
Good.
asked you
How you
that
doing?
as you're drinking water, right? Fucking terrible
Yeah.
host. I waited just for that moment. I'm doing
Yeah.
good, man. You know, fucking hanging in there, living my best life, trying to deal with, all this super fun stuff that we're dealing with.
Yep.
Yeah, fucking.
Are you
How's
still in
every?
Escondido?
Yeah, I'm still in Escondido. I live like in between Valley or in between Midway and Citrus on Valley for all the internet watchers that want to come visit me. Uh, yeah,
Damn. I was gonna suggest I just come over to your place. I've been going up there like twice a week.
dude,
Visiting my.
hit me up, man. Anytime you're up here, fucking
Dude, I should come up and then we'll do one of these from there and hit
dude.
somebody up.
I'm super down, super fucking down. Have you been
That'd
to
be
fucking
cool.
TJ Tacos yet up here?
No.
It's really good. It's really
Where
good.
is that?
It's
Is that the?
it's like on Valley between like Fig, uh, it's like on Valley between Ash and Fig.
Okay. It's not
Yeah.
that little boutique taco place where you sit down and.
No, that's Craft Tacos. And that place is all right. They're like cool for lots of veggie shit. They have like jicama tortillas and fucking like
Exactly. Yeah.
jackfruit barbacoa and shit. It's
Yeah.
fucking delicious.
It's all right. There's a place that, well, our favorite
Oh,
vegan
yeah.
taco place.
Fucking taqueria veggie.
They're gone.
They're not a truck anymore, right? Or do they have a fucking?
They always had a location in Tijuana, but
Uh,
like it's questionable. It's all like questionable whether or not people
yeah,
even go down there.
crossing the border is super weird right now.
I have Sentry, so I could go down there and be back within a normal amount of time. It's actually I'm closer to the Tijuana location than I was the fucking South Park location.
That's fucking insane.
So but it's just going across is a pain and
yeah,
coming
totally.
back kind of a bitch. So
Yeah,
I just
absolutely.
don't bother with it. Look at Nomi in the background,
I know, dude. Your cat is fucking freaking out back there. I'm loving
just like
it.
on the Bring Back the Plague video.
It is just like the Bring Back the Plague video. Well, speaking of fucking bringing back the plague, so how does it feel to be right about the end of the world? Is there like a small sense of satisfaction that you have going on there?
It's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
It was the thing about the albums, all of them, mostly starting with what would I'd say like Harvest Floor. It's like they're pretty. It's I teeter between fantasy and reality stuff that's loosely based in fantasy and significantly based in reality, and then just blurring the lines, but obviously this is a very mild form of whatever I was talking about, and
Yeah.
with all the bizarre information out there that's contradictory or just the way cases are being reported and blah blah blah, it's the whole thing's just messed up and is not the plague that I was referring to, at least in the song. So
Wasn't the actual plague.
No.
Fucking. So, I mean, it's kind of like you said. There's so much weird shit going on. There's so much strange misinformation being thrown around. It's hard to like sift through everything and figure out, what is actually going to come of all this, or like how it's being handled. So, is your outlook on humanity? How has that been affected by this whole situation? Is it getting worse, or do you see people kind of being able to like come together and solve this fucking problem? The way I look at it is, it's like, man, I don't know if you ever watched The Watchmen or if you ever read that fucking graphic novel, but like the whole premise of that shit is that like there's like an extinction level event coming, and like the one of the main heroes is like, oh well, we need to fabricate our own catastrophe to prevent a nuclear war because like people will come together in the face of a catastrophe like this. And I'm like, boy, were you fucking wrong about that. So how do you kind of feel about that whole issue?
Well, it's become so politicized that I don't think it's even about what's wrong or right anymore. Nobody seems to have a good grasp on any of this. It's all up in the air and all completely fucked up. And if you're looking through the lens of, say, Cattle Decapitation lyrics, this is all, I mean, it's what I've been talking about forever, you know? I didn't, it's weird to see a lot of it play out, just people being shitty on all sides.
Yeah.
I hate to say it like that, but it's, things are getting too nuts. It's just, it's what I've been kind of talking about forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely agree with that. I think that it's like, you know, it's so preventable, right? I mean, obviously something like the coronavirus, you know, it's a unprecedented kind of event, like something that you could never, you know, see coming or like predict happening necessarily, unlike things like, you know, climate change and, you know, fucking environmental hazards and all that kind of shit. But it's like, you know, if you would have hit me up this time last year and been like, okay, so like next April there's gonna be like a weird quarantine, you know, fucking crazy global plague going on, how do you think people are gonna handle it? I would for sure have been like, oh, poorly, really poorly, really poorly. So
it's funny that you say that, because like the last year or so, or you know, since Death Atlas came out and stuff, and we were doing this amazing touring, Japan, you know, we started off with Europe, US, as the album was coming out, and then we did, you know, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and we had the rest of the year solid booked. Like, I was actually like, how the fuck am I gonna do all of this? Like, it was insane. But oh Jesus, dude, forgot where I was going with that.
Yeah.
The word. See, I shouldn't have hit this before we started.
Yeah.
I was wondering to myself, things are going so well. I know.
Yeah.
Humans don't really deserve, and myself included, you know, don't really deserve to be able to live like this. Like, so what's gonna happen? What's the catch? Yeah. Being in the ocean in you know, Australia and swimming around, or just whatever, you know, being somewhere cool and just being like, man, things are going so amazing. What's the catch? Like, what's gonna, something's got to get in the way of this. I didn't think it was gonna be this.
Yeah.
Hit low, here we are. You know?
Man, I feel like as metal dudes, we kind of always have that like impending doom. Like, when's the other fucking foot gonna drop? Like, when is this? You know, this is been riding high for too long. Fucking, well, that kind of ties into my next question that I have here. So we spoke on the podcast in May, for anyone who was watching or listening to that. So, you know, we had a little bit of a brief discussion about this whole thing back then, about how, you know, you put it really well. It was like, oh, I'm kind of viewing this as like a great reset, like a chance to kind of like catch our breath as an industry and as musicians, and reassess things, and you know, come back super strong. So with that in mind, what's been going on with Cattle Decap? Like, how have you guys been dealing with this? I mean, obviously, you know, you guys are really present on social media. You've been releasing shit. You released that fucking butthole mask, which is goddamn brilliant. So, but you know, obviously, not being able to tour to support Death Atlas and all that kind of shit. Are you guys planning, you know, streaming shows have been popping up, all these drive-in shows? Or are you guys just kind of with the rest of us, like working on new material? I
think that all that stuff is kind of, hey, if you can do it, awesome.
Yeah.
I think Behemoth kind of came along and destroyed that whole concept. You know, like, how do you get better than that? You know, the being able to play in a church and having everything be so pro and just amazing. Like, we're not that kind of band. I think we're more of a real, you have to be there, you know, kind of thing. The video, internet videos, people filming on their phones, to me, it's just pointless. It doesn't do anything justice. You have to be there. And we've always been that way since the beginning. You know, we used to be known for being more of a better live act than on albums or whatever. So I think it's just gotten to the point where we're a different live act, I guess, or if anything. But for us, you need to be there. I'm personally not interested in doing any kind of live streaming, blah blah blah. I actually do have hope that things are going to get back, quote, back to normal. I think that's going to come with a set of, it's not going to be exactly like it was, you know.
Right.
And I think all these people, promoters or bands or whoever that are trying to make that happen prematurely, just it's pathetic. It looks stupid. And just call this, for one thing, call this year a wash.
Yeah.
It just looks dumb. Put out, yep, we're doing it. We're bringing it back. We're coming back. Woohoo! Month and a half later. Well, it's just.
Yeah. Well,
you fucking stupid. Didn't you see it? Like, do you not pay attention? Just.
I'm super inclined to agree on that front. I think that, like, when things come back to normal, it's like there needs to be a fucking unified front, man. Like, there needs to be some kind of plan put into action. And I personally don't think it's going to happen until there's a vaccine. You know what I mean? Like,
but I think a vaccine's going to be here sooner than we think.
Yeah, I would agree.
And then there's going to, I mean, what, 6 months, 9 months, a year? I don't know. How long does it take to get the vaccine implemented and people to feel safe about going outside, going out to a venue or whatever, or, you know, then there's all the people that aren't going to want to get vaccinated. And the way I think it's kind of futile to sit here and try to foresee how things are going to roll out. You know, they're going to do it the way they're going to do it. You've got governments and states and then, you know, managerial people in the managerial positions making all the calls as far as, you know, however it's going to happen. But then there's also a whole bunch of other shit I don't know if anyone's thinking about, like what venues are going to be open.
Right.
If somebody like Cattle or Legion or whatever has to fucking scale down to doing, you know, 75 person shows or whatever in a 1,000 cap room or whatever the dumb nonsense, you know, I'm just spitballing here. I don't know.
Well, no, I totally.
I don't want to do that.
I think that that's the back end is going to be really different for a while. You know what I mean? And that's something that we always kind of dip into on this little live series thing is some little industry tidbits. But you know, I think that the way the back end is handled right now for the viewers who are watching this that are not well versed in the music industry or don't have a lot of experience in touring and back end and booking and all that kind of shit, is usually the way it works is it's like, you know, a band has a booking agent and the booking agent pitches, you know, to promoters all over the country or the world or wherever the tour is being booked, based off the merit of that band's ticket sales for their last several tours. You know, hey, we want them to play here and this is how much we want them to get paid and this is all this kind of stuff. And then the promoter works with the venue and they negotiate back and forth, and that's just kind of how it goes. That's how tours get booked. And usually that's totally fine, but because the live music industry has been taking such a fucking huge hit over these past 6 months, there's going to be the negotiations are going to be a lot tougher. And so I think the real question becomes, like, you know, a band who is used to getting paid, you know, $5,000 a night or some shit like that is now going to have to be looking at being paid like $2,000 a night, $2,500 a night. And like, is that gonna be able to fucking jive with like what this band already has set up, like with what they left off and or where they left off? And
you'd be asking somebody of a higher caliber to scale their stage production down, their, you know, everything. Everybody's, well, not everybody, but certain bands, if you're doing the touring circuit and on a label or whatever, you work cyclically. You work towards a common goal, which is usually, you know, moving higher up the ladder or whatever, hopefully not, you know, sacrificing your artistic integrity to do so. So, you know, we've been doing that for, 20 years. We've been touring cyclically for 18 years now. Solid. That's absolutely solid. That's doing, you know, a new record every 2 or 3 years or whatever. And then certain amounts of US, European, and now Japan, Australia, New Zealand, South America, I'm sure will be around the corner. Just things like that, fly-ins, like there's all sorts of stuff. And that has just completely been wadded up and thrown against the fucking wall. And I don't know how it's going to stick. I don't know how it's going to fall, what's going to come out of this. But at the same time, I don't know. I've always had other irons in the fire, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's important, you know what I mean, to
Whatever.
have that kind of, you know, not putting all your eggs in one basket, especially as a musician and especially in the metal industry. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we've always been the underdogs, man. Like, you know, there's been places in time, you know, you look at like the late 80s, maybe like the early 2000s, where like metal or like heavier music, you know, got a little bit more of that limelight. But especially now, you know what I mean, where even like the metal aesthetic is being applied to non-metal styles of music. It's like really difficult for bands to get more people interested in the genre, because it's like the things that we have used forever, you know what I mean, like the things that have appealed to the people who get into metal and have been gatewayed into metal through other bands and all that kind of stuff, are now being kind of co-opted by these other genres of music. So it's just becoming more and more of a challenge to be just a standalone metal band. So having those extracurricular ideas and, like you said, those other irons in the fires is always super super fucking important.
Yeah.
So I mean, what have you been hearing from fans, if you keep your finger on that kind of pulse? What, because I feel like that's going to be a really big thing moving forward, is it's like now that the industry has kind of, you know, shifted gears or is in the middle of kind of like a turmoil period, so to speak, as far as live shows go. I feel like fans have a little bit more weight and a little bit more of a voice as far as catering like what they want, you know, to take into consideration when things come back. So have you really heard anything from fans? Have you been, you know, picking up on any fan feedback as far as like what they want from Cattle?
All I'm saying is that they want us to come out and they want everything to get back to normal.
Yeah.
Everybody says the same thing, back to normal.
Yeah.
And I don't hold your breath. I mean, even I've lost track of what back to normal even means, you know, because there's going to be some sort of change. It's not going to be exactly how it was, which is frightening. It's only been 7 months or whatever, 8 months or whatever. Just that unknown is what's frightening, I think, to me. I like to know what's going on, you know. I like to have my finger on the pulse, and I can't blame them, you know. Yeah, everybody wants to get back to normal. I want to get back out. I think I think Death Atlas is our best work, and it's a tragedy to see it get hosed by something like this, but it is what it is, you know. I mean, we've already started, you know, to write the next one. I personally already know how it's going to play out as far as thematically, so I'm totally down to just start writing. I mean, it'd be stupid to take a year and a half out of a band that does things cyclically and just be like, all right, we'll revisit that. I mean, obviously this album's touring is going to get probably cut short, but because we're not going to wait 5 years between records. So we're just going to try not to.
And that's another huge thing about it, man, is that it's like, you know, there was that big hubbub a few months back. I'm sure you remember, with the Spotify CEO coming out making his statement, being like, oh, bands need to release music more frequently, like you can't make a living, you know, off of releasing music every couple years and all that shit. And like, you know,
first off, I'm not trying to make a living off of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, right off the bat, I'd much because I have other irons in the fire. I have other things I do for income.
Right. But
music is this is first and foremost my artistic outlet.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Just being able to make money off of it, or even work cyclically, has been I mean, I'm not religious, but I don't know, a blessing. I don't know who blessed it. Never helped. Yeah. Ryan Slagle. I don't know, but it's been awesome. Yeah. So it is weird to have that completely taken away for the time being, but it's not just like it just happened to us or something. Everybody's in that same boat. So there's that. It's nice to see everybody kind of come together, and I hate to say it, be taken down a notch, you know, or just like.
Yeah, I mean, well, it forces people into a position where you have to come up with creative solutions, right?
Yes.
Like, because our whole industry is based off of experience, like the experience that we can provide to people in a live setting. Because music as a commodity, right? Or it's been commoditized, I should say. It's like, you know, and this is like way back, like music industry history, going back to the 90s and shit like that, where you know, you had people kind of conglomeratizing the music industry after it had been operating for so long. But music has been commoditized more and more and more and more as a product, as far as just the music. So now artists have had to kind of shift gears, especially over the last, 10, 15 years, into being like, all right, well, the music is there for sure, but it kind of serves as more of like a backdrop to this live experience that we provide you. And having this experience, is what our industry is like completely based around. So now that experience we can't provide it right now. Like, we can't go out and play shows and give people that experience. So coming up with these creative solutions to try to,
Well, it's also kind of unfortunate because the only creative solution that is available for us, because Ollie lives in Montreal.
Right.
We love the guy to death. We're not going to play without him. Get into the United States right now. We weren't able to do like one of the things we were able to do. Obviously, touring's out of the question. But we were going to do a new music video. So now we have to come up with something else for that. We were able to do the last one because it was us. I mean, I was literally filming right here with my cat doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
That it's doing now. So that was easy to do. But so what sucks is what are we left with?
Right.
I guess sling and merch. That kind of, I mean, yeah, that's cool, and I'm very, very, very thankful people buy stuff, but we don't want to just be a clothing line or whatever it is. I'm not. Then again, we did have the reissues for Anthropocene and Monolith both already set in stone for this year.
Right.
So those were already going to happen. They just happened a little later than we had planned because of COVID and plants being backed up and whatever. So those have already come and gone, and now I'll just announce it here. I haven't said anything anywhere, but we're going to actually be doing a reissue of our first two records, Human Jerky and Homivore.
Sick.
And it's going to get the Dave Otero treatment.
Ooh.
We're having Dave, he already did the master to Human Jerky, and we were actually able to, our buddy Jason Schimmel from Secret Chiefs 3 and ex-Stratosphere, one of my favorite old bands.
Fucking love Stratosphere so goddamn much.
Dude, he's the best.
Ugh.
Or they're the best. He actually was able to take the old Homivore 2-inch reel. We recorded that analog, and he was able to pull all the stems from it, all the tracks. So I sent him to Otero. We're gonna see what we can do, see if it works. If not, we're just gonna reissue it as it was. But all of that's in the works. We haven't made any announcements, so.
There you go. Metal Blade Live Series exclusive. There we go.
Yeah. But when's that coming? I don't know. That's just the next thing I personally have on my plate for the band. And,
what's really funny is that someone actually just asked you this as like a fan question. I've got a few of them piling up that we'll get to in a minute, but someone just asked, have you ever considered re-recording any of your material prior to the Harvest Floor, have Dave Otero work his magic, and even incorporate your current vocal style? So it's funny that you should bring that up unprompted, because apparently people
we're not
curious.
re-recording it. We're not re-recording it, but a re-recording is something completely different. The only thing I ever... the only one I ever thought about what would be cool to do that with would be To Serve Man, but that's kind of it. And who gives... I'm not... Personally, I'm not into that. I'm more into progressing and moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of fan questions, let's address a couple of those before I move on with the questions that I have going on, just so people aren't left out in the wind. So Kyle Pegg wants to know, Travis, how in the absolute fuck did you come up with that tongue out tunnel throat scream? I know this one has a long answer. I know that's a long answer question. You've done like whole ass fucking interviews just about this topic. So if there's like a condensed version,
all right. I mean, I started doing these vocals while I was playing drums, and I would do backup vocals in my band Strangulation. So when I was like 16, 17. I'm 46 at the end of this year, so about 30 years. But there's like you said, there's a whole long history. There's a reason why it didn't show up earlier on records. a great reason for that. I have been doing them since Human Jerky, but mostly live. And what it was this thing I started doing to try to emulate the sound of highs and lows at the same time.
Right.
You know, you got your ooh and the and so in the middle or whatever. So I just created this like air pocket, between the tongue and the back of my throat that I noticed had this kind of sympathetic tone to it. It would give kind of like it would produce this overtone that I wasn't necessarily trying to produce, but just over years of doing that live and fucking around in the car when I'm driving around listening to shit or whatever, or mostly live. Like when you see me on stage, I'm actually experimenting a lot the whole time.
Yeah.
More so before. Now I'm more into locking into what I've been doing and making it sound as good as I can, I guess. The stupid clean fucking or whatever, not clean, but the melodic vocals really threw a wrench into those plans. But so yeah, that's kind of everything that my vocals are made up of now are mostly from playing live and being in different scenarios. Everything from a VFW hall with a shit PA to, open air fucking massive festivals to everything in between. Big House of Blueses and hearing the slapback from the back of the room and reverb and I don't know, overtones and paying attention to that kind of shit.
Yeah. Well, I remember we had a conversation about this when on our first tour that we ever did together back in fucking 2010. That was 10 years ago. Can you fucking believe that shit? Blows my mind. Anyway, but
I can.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been 20.
It's been such a long time. But yeah, no, but I remember we had a conversation about this because we were talking about highs, because both of us were like really doing a lot of like high shrieky screams on that tour, and we had this conversation where it was like, how do we replicate that high shrieky fucking like just pitchy fucking scream in a studio setting, because like for some reason the way that it carries with the monitors and with live setting and all this kind of shit, it's just so different. Like it's just,
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've had this conversation with a lot of people. I wasn't able to do the okay, they're not called fucking zombie vocals for one thing. The tongue, I used to call it air displacement.
Yeah, people have generally started calling it tunnel throat vocals.
Well, stop. No, but the tongue highs, that shit. For the longest time, when I would go to try to record it on record, it just ended up sounding like paper being ripped. I can't explain it. Me and not Otero, Billy Anderson went at it a bunch over this. Like, I tried on Karma and Harvest Floor to get that stuff to not sound like that, but I ended up thinking it was just me. But then talking to Otero, I was just like, no, we're gonna figure this out. And ever since then, it's sounded fine. It sounds exactly like it does live, or how it should, But there is certain, frequencies live that are just hard to capture on recording. And I've done vocal recording where we tried to mimic that by having an actual monitor playing, which sounds probably bizarre to every engineer and producer out there. We tried. I don't remember what came of it. We've tried it. We do a lot of experimenting, but I don't know, man. It's fucking just over years of experience and just working on it. And I never had a name for them. But
yeah.
It's all over the place now.
Yeah, now that it's been introduced, now that you kind of like pioneered that sound and people have kind of caught on and watched the interviews about the tongue placement and all that kind of shit, there's so many different approaches to it now. Like so many. It's like, and I've talked to vocalists that I know that do it and all that kind of stuff, and it's everything from like, oh well, I put my tongue like up against my bottom teeth and I do this like this kind of thing, and it creates this like and then like, and then there's other people who are like, oh, well, I tuck my tongue like way back and create like a high arch so that it's like I go way back here and and it's just like there's
the whole point of it in the beginning for me was to emulate the sound of two people of a high and low at once. That fucking carcass turns your brain to pus. That's a great line. That's a good example because it sounds like to me, like it just sounds like it's just that sound of two vocals. I don't know, I have one right here, but I'm not going to take it down. A sitar is a good example of what I guess I'm trying to talk
absolutely.
about.
Well, I mean, Eastern music like that has been a huge influence on me personally as a vocalist, as far as like creating overtones and
you're Johnny fucking kind of tube and throat singing. You're the one that totally knows how to do that shit, man. I love that shit.
The fucking,
you get that,
and that's
it's
the thing,
really
starting. Like, so the biggest challenge there is like trying to figure out how to take that style of vocals and like really push it into metal, right? You know what I mean? Like take those secondary vocal, you pushing air past those secondary vocal cords, those dormant chords, those getting that like kind of sound and making it like a and like really creating this like unique kind of sound, because that's I feel like there's so much has been done in the genre as far as like extreme vocals and what you can do with your voice, but I feel like there's this untapped pocket that you kind of introduced with like the overtones and the subtones and getting all that kind of shit going with like the tunnel throat shit. So anyway, long answer to short answer. Experiment with your voice, figure shit out. That's
stay off YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. I personally see, I was never a YouTuber, and it's probably worked against me, and that's fine. Whatever. So I never sat there and spelled it out for people and whatever. I just kind of, there's this one guy that nailed it, figured out how to do it, like, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something. He put this video up and I was just like, holy shit, that guy, he's doing it.
Right.
Probably doing it better than me. Holy shit. Fine. Like, that's the only person I've ever seen really do it. And then after that, it was like all over the place.
Yeah. Okay. So, one more fan question I have here before moving on to some other shit. So, Jesse Kosalka wants to know. I said Kyle Pegg. Okay, so Jesse Kosalka wants to know, yo, Travis, any young up and coming bands you would recommend to listen to?
Well, I'm gonna assume he's talking about metal.
Yeah. I mean, or not. Fuck it.
There is. What? I just can't. I'm thinking of one the other day that I was just like, what? This is fucking insane. Fuck, I don't know. I mean, there's this band called Choir Boy that's
Choir Boy's fucking sick.
more like new wave, 80s new wave, but and they're like, I don't know, 21, 22 years old, and they sound like fucking Tears for Fears or some shit. They sound like they were around then, and that blows my mind, freaks me out. But I know there was a metal band recently that is really young and completely nails it too, and I forgot. So no, I don't have any real answers for that. I listen to all sorts of other weird kinds of. I mean, I don't really listen to. I don't know. I listen to that shit more than metal. Really, other stuff more than I do metal. I really attribute that to metal already coursing through my veins and always has. So it's like something else outside of that is actually stimulating, and I don't know, some of the stuff that does trip me out. Bio Noise Generator, there you go. They're a young band from Russia that's fucking insane. BYO, it's all one word, BYONOISEGENERATOR, Bio Noise Generator, which is like kind of like John Zorn, Naked City. No, more like Painkiller-esque. Yeah, Naked City-ish, but in the grind forward instead of jazz forward like that stuff was. It's
right.
fucking crazy. They have that slam snare that's just like ping, 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 ping.
Yeah.
But they're not a slam band or anything.
Right.
That shit's insane. So that, yeah, there you go. That's one band. You know, another one, I don't know how young she is or up and coming or whatever, but the whole Igor camp
Right.
has spawned a whole scene of shit in France that's insane. Every bit of it's amazing. Corpomint. I don't know how to say it. OXXOXOOX. I don't know how you say it. They make up their own languages. And it's all the people that, you know, work with Gautier and in Igor and stuff. But this one project, I did a guest vocal, just a kind of a wall of for this group, Ricin.
Yeah.
Ricin. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah.
It's another one of those made up words. I don't think it's like named after the poisonous whatever berry or leaf or whatever the fuck that shit is. It's Laura Leprenick from Igor, the opera singer, the female opera singer in Igor. It's her solo project and it's insane.
Awesome.
The first record, Leon, I think it's called, that didn't leave my stereo for 6 months when I first got it. It was just very depressing, very somber, beautiful music. Very Bjork-ish, kind of. The new song, the one that I'm on at least, that she just announced. That's something that you absolutely have to check out. That's going to be probably my album of the year. There's just a lot of good stuff coming out, man. And I would assume within the next 9 months that you're going to see a lot of crazy shit just from people having the time to sit at home and put shit together and edit and whatever.
That's always such a loaded question because it's just like, dog, there's so much fucking music coming out every day that it's
like for me, it's like, well, what genre? You know?
Like, yeah, exactly.
I would have, since we're on Metal Blade Records, fucking live cast, you know, I'll assume I'm talking metal. So
yeah, totally.
I'm probably not the person to ask for that.
So
to be honest,
one more fan question came in while we were talking about that. So Evan MV wants to know, what are some of your strangest experiences while performing or experiences with fans? This is always a fun one.
People grabbing your dick is weird.
That is super weird, and it happens more than you would think, for sure.
Yeah. Then again, when you're, you know, beyond the monitors and you're kind of, you know, in their face, your crotch is probably also in their face. So I don't know. Depends on the size of the stage.
Yeah.
Some stuff like that, or middle fingers, like.
I've never understood that shit.
Well, especially never, like if you hate the band.
Totally. But that's never how it's used. It's always like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I'm having a fucking
Primus
great time.
Sucks, or whatever. I'm just like. I'm not, you know, I used to read all into it. I used to try to break their fingers.
Yeah.
Because I thought they were talking shit. And then you realize later, no, everybody's weird in some way. And I think I'm weird. You're weird.
Yeah.
Creative people are weird. And I think a lot of them are creative people. And that's their way of expressing. You know, I was in Germany once, and there was this kid up front smoking a cigarette and blowing it right in my face. And I think I broke it or something, or I like flicked it out of his hand. I did something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that threw me for a loop because I'm like, dude, I'm up here doing like 6 different vocal styles, and I'm obviously hurting. Do you know? All right, I'm obviously. You know, not overdoing it, but you know what I mean, exhausting myself or whatever. You're gonna sit there and just blow cigarette smoke in the dude's face, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I confronted him out front because he came up going, oh, the great show tonight, and I was just like, oh, you sure about that? I mean, what the fuck were you doing,
man?
And I made him look like a dick in front of his fans, so it was all good.
Yeah, works out.
We were fine. everything ended up.
Dude, and
yeah.
The German audience is very particular. It's very particular. For those
And
of
I
you
point blanked him about that. I was just like, oh, is this one of your German compliments?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. For those
the
of
backhanded compliments
who have never heard about this, or those of you who are watching who are like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? If you ever play a show in Germany, you should just kind of expect someone to come up to you after the show and be like, man, that was such a good show. You guys are fucking terrible though. It's like it's the weirdest fucking thing, and it happens at every show. Like it's like they're like, oh my god, I had such a great time. You guys did so good, but like your guitar player needs to like go take lessons. And it's like,
or
what the
I saw
fuck?
you
Like,
guys. I saw you guys in Munchen last time. Very good. Tonight, not so much. It's
yeah,
like, dude, you don't. Who does that?
yeah, Germans do it.
I know, but
every
the thing is it's not exactly a xenophobic thing, because you ask them and they'll be all, oh yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
I was told we toured with, we had a German merch gal one year, and she said the main thing we hate about you guys, talking about Americans, generalizing, like we're doing right now, is you're so loud. Or no, not that we're loud. Sorry. We're full of shit.
Right.
Because everything's amazing. We overdo it when we say thank you. We overdo it when we, with everything, it's just kind of like, hey, how are you tonight? They're just like,
yeah.
Like, why are you so,
fucking uppity and cheerful?
Yeah. And I find myself doing it. And a lot of it is because I still trip out that I can go on the other side of the world and somebody knows my name. Or somebody knows the band and listens to us and can recite the lyrics. That freaks me out still. It's always going to.
I don't think it's disingenuous. I don't think that it's like, I think that that's kind of where it comes from, is that they're like, oh, you guys are like kind of putting on a face and like being over the top for no reason. But I don't think it's that way. I think that it's like when I'm in the Ukraine and someone is like, oh, I love your band, like I've been listening to your, I'm like legit excited. I'm like, dude, that's fucking so sick. Like, fucking. And
at least they're being genuine about it. That's the one thing I do like, that I do appreciate, is at least they're fucking telling you the truth as they see it, because that's all that matters. Yeah, it should be all that matters to somebody.
Absolutely.
Not fabricating just to, I don't know, be in. Like, a lot of people you'll get in fights with online or whatever, or you see people talking shit about you or whatever. Dude, they had you sign something at some point.
Yeah.
They came and saw you. People, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'll never understood what's going on in most people's minds, and that's hence what I write lyrics about.
Yeah, basically. Well, we talked a little bit, going back to that old podcast that we did a few months back. We talked a little bit about doing stuff outside of metal, and I know you just mentioned, listening to a lot of shit outside of metal. But as far as being on the creative side of things, I know that you've always kind of dipped your toes in projects outside of the strictly metal genre. Has there been anything you've been working on outside of this Ryson project that you were just mentioning, like any collabs that you've been working on at all, any independent electronic projects, just anything kind of outside of the cattle box?
I did a couple. No, not lately. I've had all sorts of chances or whatever. I don't know. My old pal from 552,000, my old ambient,
which I have a physical copy of.
Well, yeah, I gave it to you.
Yeah,
he's actually lives near you. He's in Valley Center now, and has been there for a while. And I would love to get back together and do some stuff with him, and maybe do some more 5.5 stuff. But dude, time is just—it's not happening. I've pushed all that kind of shit away. I've done guest appearances and shit. I did one for Sun Torn, my friend's band. That's coming at some point. But that's metal, so the Ryson thing is sort of metal, but anything not metal, I just haven't had time. My wife and I did that. We did a track. It was but I probably talked about this on the last podcast. I'll do it again, whatever. You can find it on Bandcamp. The group is called Die Later, Dielater. And it was just my wife and I. We have another song on deck. We just haven't finished it. We did a cover of this folk singer, Edith Frost, that I've been
Nice.
into for 20-something years.
Oh, yeah.
Did a weird, slightly trappy, slightly witch housey sort of techno-y cover of that. My wife is a phenomenal singer. And so I did the music on GarageBand or whatever. So that was fun. We do have another song that's sick on deck, but we need lyrics and just need to get in there and do it. And then we have ideas for other covers we want to do and stuff. So might have some more of that at some point, but I just haven't had time. I've been talking loosely to somebody from a very massive band. I would love to get that going. I mentioned one of them earlier, but I'm gonna leave that out. I'm not gonna say it because who knows if anything will ever happen. But
Right.
we've been talking about having me do vocals for one of their albums for a while, and I'm dying to do that. I'm a massive fan. So we'll see. It's not metal, but I don't know. I personally, I would let, because I know Cattle's gonna get right back to it, and that's gonna be, things are gonna open up. The shit's gonna get back to somewhat normal. We're gonna be touring at some point. I would like to do something more non-metal because I have a lot of metal in my near future. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to do some sort of. I would like to expand upon the the melodic, screaming vocals in something else that's not metal. I would love to, do more of that, but it's got to be the right thing.
Yeah, I can't square peg round hole it. That's
yeah.
It's always a problem. Well, yeah. I've kept you for about an hour so far, so I will let you go here. Just one more quick thing. Is there anything, bands, albums, films to check out? We kind of talked about that already a little bit in the music side of things, but anything that you've been into, anything you recommend, or anything that you've been working on that you want to kind of give a shout out to?
Definitely not the video we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Or the movie, the Netflix drama.
Yeah, definitely not that. That's don't check that out.
Dude, I would love to talk about that.
Yeah, I think that I don't know how our
would Slago be pissed?
I don't know how our higher ups would feel about that. So
Nikki's texting you right now. Don't talk about cuties.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch it. I don't need to watch it.
Fuck that. There's no need.
I think there's much better ways to expose the truths of something than showing the thing you're exposing.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree.
Don't try to pretend you're that woke. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
it's not cool.
It's fucking goofy as fuck. It's
not okay.
Bad kettle of fish. Fucking not good. Well, fucking yeah. What the fuck are you doing with your sunglasses?
Did you see that? Sup, bro?
Yeah. Fucking. I'm about to angrily address the person inside this coffee shop. Fucking.
Yeah. Wearing no mask.
Yeah. I've got my sunglasses up. All right. Well, thanks so much, man, for fucking coming and hanging out with us and shooting the shit. It's always.
I'm gonna come up there and we're gonna hang out in real life.
Dude, yeah, please, man. Fucking.
I'm gonna bomb one of your when you're doing this with somebody.
Yeah, just fucking knock on the door. All of a sudden, Travis.
Who's your next one? Do you know?
I don't know yet. But it's a week by week kind of thing. So
we got to do this,
dude. We totally do. Fucking co-host action going on.
Riley, for those people that don't know, Riley lives in my hometown.
Yes.
We're like 40 minutes from each other or something.
Yeah. And we live very close to each other.
Yeah.
Don't hang out enough for how fucking close we live. It's a goddamn tragedy. But
yeah.
Time
spent the first half of my life there, so
yeah.
It means a lot to me. So, but I'm there every week, saying hi to my folks. My dad's not doing too great, so I try to come up there as much as possible.
Right. Well, yeah, man. Hit me up anytime you're up here. I'm fucking super down to fucking kick it and grab some food and fucking play some video games or some shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Modern Warzone. That's something we should have talked about. Warzone.
Oh yeah, dude. Fucking Warzone is fucking.
The best game ever.
Fucking hot shit right now. It's like
you can add me on my PSN is human-jerky.
yes, add Travis PSN human jerky. There you go. That's
I pretty much add everybody.
Yeah.
But when I'm with my regiment and we're playing, we play our happy hours 8:30 to 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
We're kind of like, we kind of keep it to the
don't fuck with the squad. Don't fuck with the squad.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Understand why it's not joinable.
Yeah, 100%. All right, man. Well, I will talk to you next time. Thank you again for joining us. Everybody watching, thank you so much for checking us out. I'm Riley McShane, singer for Legion, host of the Metal Blade live series. This has been Travis Ryan of Cattle Decapitation, and we will catch y'all next week.